Hey guys, welcome back to Aetherium Capital. Today I'll be presenting some stocks that will actually benefit you guys if there is a huge blown out war that is for a prolonged period of time. So let's first move on to Palantir Technologies. I'm sure this comes as no surprise, and you should know that Palantir Technology is a company that uses AI to help the military, be it whether it's tracking of their logistics or basically doing drones as well as performing artificial intelligence to identify potential enemies as targets, etc. So Palantir Technologies is definitely a company that will benefit from this war and increasing geopolitical tensions. So if you guys don't know by now, US basically built its dominance via warfare and basically started a lot of proxy wars such as the Vietnam War and the Korean War. And these proxy wars actually raked in billions of dollars for the US economy. So what is going on with Israel and Iran right now is highly likely involved with the US. So US is definitely of the knowledge that they are actually bombing the nuclear facilities. And I believe that all of the resources that are telling you that that is not true is potentially lying because it is hugely to the benefit of both Israel as well as the US to maintain that Iran does not have any nuclear weapons. And this war, in my opinion, is expected to be prolonged. So if you look at markets reactions right now, especially in your Brent crude, it is actually not increasing by much. It only increased by approximately 8% over the past month. And honestly, this is not a lot compared to the last time where you saw there was an invasion of Russia and Ukraine. So currently, what people are pricing right now is that Donald Trump will actually be able to step in and actually support a ceasefire and prevent the war from being prolonged. However, in my opinion, as long as Iran is steadfast in making sure that they have nuclear weapons, they will not achieve a ceasefire. And as you know, Donald Trump recently posted to let everyone in Tehran to basically escape and get out of there. And in my opinion, I believe that there will be another salvage of bombings in that region. And that's why the president of United States is coming in and asking people to get out. So if you also saw the post that Iran made, Iran essentially said that if there are any involvement in the US, UK, or Europe in the war on Israel, they will actually launch nuclear weapons and they will actually launch weapons and missiles to the US, UK, and Europe. And this over here would definitely not be good for the people in Iran because US will absolutely liberate anyone that is attacking US soil. So I believe that this tension and this geographical conflict will actually prolong for a long period of time. It is unlikely for them to actually resolve this quite quickly or as quickly as people expected. And I believe that crude oil will continuously to trade up. So if crude oil continuously to trade up, you will have companies such as your Occidental Petroleum that is benefiting from it. So Occidental Petroleum actually derives two parts of its revenue. The first part is basically from selling oil. It is the largest oil producer in the US and it's one of the low cost providers. And it actually has a lot of reserves in the Permian Basin. So there are many competitors to Occidental Petroleum, but the reason why Occidental Petroleum actually stands out is because of its low cost ability, as well as the fact that it is purely US plate, US oil that is produced by Occidental Petroleum. So the lowest oil producer in the world is actually Saudi Aramco. They are able to produce oil at around $20 a barrel, and it is produced in Saudi Arabia. However, if the thesis does plays out that US actually goes into war and there's an increase in conflict, Occidental Petroleum is where you want to be. Simply because of the fact that the oil is majoritarily from the US and is the lowest cost producer in the US with US assets. So, in the event of a war, companies like Occidental Petroleum would definitely benefit. We have no idea where Saudi Arabia would stand during this war because it is also part of the Middle East. And I'm not too certain whether they would be quite happy for the US and waging war on its neighbors. And I believe that Occidental Petroleum is something that is more of a bet that you could take. And for me personally, I did add some Occidental Petroleum, funnily enough, on June 13th. And it was on June 12th, sorry, June 12th. And it was exactly a day later where it was announced that there was a war going on with Israel and Iran. So obviously, this is pure luck. For me personally, I have been wanting to own Occidental Petroleum for quite a while, and when it reaches a dip over here, I actually bought into it. And about 2 days later, the war got announced, and currently I'm around 5% up on the position. So I hope you guys looked at Lockheed Martin as well. So Lockheed Martin is actually a company that is quite interesting. It actually did rise up initially, but then it dropped back down. And I believe that Lockheed Martin is another company that would benefit if there was an all-out war. So Lockheed Martin is a company that basically produces most of your military aircrafts, and they will benefit significantly if there's an aerial warfare going on. So for me personally, Lockheed Martin is not buy for me, simply due to the reason that the war that is currently going on would not benefit Lockheed Martin much because Iran does not really have aerial superiority, and there's no need to actually deploy Lockheed Martin's equipment into Iran and Israel. So for me personally, Lockheed Martin is not a buy. And I want to leave you guys with this over here. So you have your resilience of the stock market since 1936 to 2021. There have been numerous wars. You have your Pearl Harbor, World War II crash, Suez Canal crisis, Six-Day War, Arab oil embargo, all this crisis on and on and on and on. And as you can see, over the long term, it is a steady upward trend. So one of the greatest mistakes that you could have made is actually selling your S&P 500 or your US stocks. So for those of you guys who are tempted to sell because of all of this uncertainty, I would recommend you guys not to. But I will also not recommend you guys to buy on any dips that you see currently because the market is still quite overvalued. For those of you guys who don't know, I do currently own around 35% of my positions in cash. And I'm actually looking to deploy some cash into Hong Kong and China stocks uh, quite recently, probably in the next month or so. So I'll update you guys with my movements. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, do consider subscribing.